How's it going, everybody? Since crossplay got introduced, we've seen an increasing trend of people being unhappy with the matches they're getting. Whether the reasons these people come up with are founded in actual facts, subjective sentiments, religious beliefs, or brainworm activity, well, none of that is really relevant actually. When there is a perceived issue to such a degree, it warrants a closer look. Especially since it seems a lot of players have taken it into their own hands to rectify what they believe is poor match quality. I've made a whole video about rage quitting, so I won't go into too great a detail, but it certainly is an important factor. Anybody who watches streams or plays a lot themselves has certainly experienced it. Reach players, even more so. Very rarely will a match end without one or more players quitting when they are losing. What this most likely boils down to is the perception of unfairness. There are multiple root causes for this. For one, platform. Even though only PC can tell with 100% certainty that someone is on PC or on console. Many console players do not like having to face PC players. That is simply a fact, and no matter how many stats are presented and how many times it is explained that the difference is only a certain amount, this will not change. It has been explained hundreds of times across dozens of different games, but nothing has changed about the perceived disadvantage. Are you disadvantaged on console? Yes, definitely. Is it the sole reason why you are losing? Absolutely not. Plenty of console players have proven that they can compete at the highest level in For Honor. That is a fact. Despite that, it has become a universally accepted excuse. Since disabling crossplay is not an option, as I've told you many months ago, people justify quitting out of matches. As I said, we will not solve the platform debate today. I doubt anyone ever can, so the only real option is to ignore it for now. Just have to sit it out until old Gen disappears. The second big reason is that solo queuers and stacks can match up. Let me make this very clear right now. I've ranted about this since season 1. Year 1, season 1. Since I've mostly queued on my own back in the day, but we are now in year 6. I cannot see any change here. We will never get solo queue only, as this will eliminate the ability to queue as 3 players. We will never see stacks only queue either. It just won't happen. As frustrating as it might be, the same argument that people use with ranked mode, all that applies here now. Alright, great. So 2 big reasons that won't change. We're off to a great start. Well, yeah, the third is the obsession with stats. It is the only other logical explanation of why people quit out of games at the end. Because why would you play a match to the very end and then quit 10 seconds before you get your rewards? It makes absolutely zero sense to do that. Why would you willfully pass on your steal and XP rewards? It has to be the stats. What further strengthens this argument is the way people argue about balance. At least in certain places where it's total strangers arguing with each other, you quite often see sentences like this one. I play in high MMR with a win rate of 65%. Alright there, champ. So, first of all, in theory, a win rate of 65% should be great. Matchmaking should try and get you a win rate of 50%. That is the premise of skill-based matchmaking. After winning a lot, you get better opponents, so the win rate of everybody is kept around 50%. So being 50% higher than that, well, that sounds amazing. Problem here is now that for one, bot games count. PvI players have 90% plus win rates. And second, joining an in-progress lobby, well, that only counts the wins, never the losses. It says so at the bottom. Which then means that the win rate stat is absolutely meaningless. And that's putting it nicely. But people must be hung up on it. Because why quit out of so many matches that I've already concluded? You just look silly. But how do we fix it then? I do have a few suggestions. For one, bring back the blacklist. Before the term itself leads to some confusion, let me explain. This is not blacklisting players from matching against you. That is a terrible idea and only leads to griefing. No, what that feature is that when you were in a match with other players and you go back to requeuing. Then, for the next 5 to 10 minutes, the game will try and find you a different lobby. It will try and find you different people to play against. It, so to speak, blacklists the previous lobby. Because that is usually why people leave. They want new players to fight. What we currently have is players leaving the match, then requeuing and being put right back into the same lobby. Or all players from one team leave, resulting in the other team to fight bots. So that team leaves because they don't want to play bots and requeues, just to be put right into a new lobby consisting of the same 8 people, wasting everybody's time. We used to have that feature, and with crossplay and an increased matchmaking pool, this should, without question, make a comeback. It has to be as easy as flipping a switch, right? But feel free to explain to me why it might not be. So this would solve parts of the big problem at least. Then the next thing I'm asking for is a result of all the player behavior caused by this perceived issue of quote-unquote unfair matches. We need regular MMR resets, and Ubi needs to punish players that actively inflate or deflate their MMR. Let me explain. It is no secret that there are ways to circumvent leaver penalties. Be that inviting yourself to a group, or closing to dashboard, or all the other options. All platforms have them, some are easier than others, but once again irrelevant. The practice of leaving all matches you are about to lose without having it count as a loss makes the game think that you are only winning matches. By that logic, the skill-based matchmaking is putting you into games with harder opponents, something that player does not want, as they dislike losing. So now we have an objectively bad player in a lobby where they have no place of being in the first place. So that player ultimately will leave mid-match again, resulting in a bad match experience for everybody. This has been going on for quite a while now, and it is happening in almost every match now. We have reached a terrible state. And the only real way out of this is an MMR reset. And if you do it regularly, then we won't reach such proportions anymore. The next step many might not like, because it also punishes innocent players that are actually crashing or having issues otherwise. But we cannot go on without punishing players that actively manipulate their MMR. Leaving needs to be punished. It needs to count as a loss. There is no way around that anymore. Penalties are way too lax at the moment, or pretty much non-existent because people circumvent them. And that absolutely goes both ways, because if leaving counts as a loss, then we will face the same problem but in a different way. You have good players dropping their rating to get easier matches. Be that for their ego or for content, it is no secret that this is an easy way to make yourself look better than you actually are. Tons of games have this issue, and For Honor is no exception here. Some have been doing it for years, nobody seems to mind. But that is also a problem we will not solve. As long as that is desirable content to watch, nothing will change. Oh yeah, we have reached a point where we can no longer ignore this. I don't know whether Ubisoft is still improving matchmaking. They've said in the past that there is something they constantly work on, but we haven't heard anything in a while. Doesn't mean that they stopped. Simply means our lizard brains need to constantly be reminded, as we like to come up with doomsday scenarios otherwise. I do think though that changes are needed, and the ones I mentioned here are probably the ones that require the least bit of work and effort, since it's all either been done already in the past or already in the game anyways. It doesn't mean I'm against more nuanced approaches that might solve the issue as well. But we can't go on like this. It's gotten to a point where it's not fun for anybody. Let me know about your experiences here and what you would do. That said that, hope the video was interesting. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.